Okay, so let's get into it. We're doing a deep dive today on, well, a real Texas icon.
Right, the Texas State Capitol down in Austin.
Yeah.
More than just, an office building.
Absolutely. It's this incredible landmark packed with history, and it's huge, taller than the U.S. Capitol even.
It really is. And totally accessible. Our sources, guides, historical stuff, transcripts, they all paint this picture of a living museum, basically.
Yeah, so our mission today is kind of like being your personal guide. We'll walk through the info, pull out the key history, the surprising bits, and, what you absolutely have to see if you visit.
Sounds good. It's like getting the tour without the walking. We're doing the legwork through the pages.
Exactly. So where we start, the history seems like the place. This isn't the first Capitol building Texas had, right?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Actually, number 3, there was a wooden one first, back in the Republic days,
Okay.
then a limestone one, built right on the same spot as the current one. But that one, well, it had a pretty dramatic end.
Burned down.
Yep. Big fire in 1881 leveled it, which, created the immediate need for something new, something grander.
And they definitely went grand. The architect was Elijah E. Myers.
That's the one. He'd done other capitals. Construction started pretty quick, 1882, finished up by 1888.
And the look of it, that famous pinkish stone.
Ah, yes, the sunset red granite from Marble Falls, not too far away, gives it that really distinct color.
Was that always the plan, the granite?
Actually, no. They were going to use local limestone, but there were issues with it. Then the granite was offered kind of as a gift, and it became this defining feature. Pretty iconic now.
Totally. And the size. It's just massive. Over 360,000 square feet to start, right? And then they added the extension later.
Yeah, double the space with the underground part. But the height is the big talking point usually.
That's what always gets me. How tall is it exactly?
It's 308 feet, from the ground floor up to the very top of the Goddess of Liberty statue on the dome.
Okay, 308 feet. And the comparison.
That's about 20 feet taller than the U.S. Capitol in D.C.
Wow. Was that on purpose? Like Texas making a statement?
Well, the sources hint they definitely wanted something impressive. There was even a claim back then, though, not really verified since, that it was the 7th largest building in the world when finished.
7th largest. Okay, verified or not, that shows the ambition, right?
For sure. Big state, big plans, big building.
So how did they pay for this monument back in the 1880s? Must have cost a fortune.
Well, Texas had a lot of land, but maybe not a lot of cash on hand.
Right.
So they did this very Texas thing. They traded land for it. Over 3 million acres of public land up in the Panhandle.
3 million acres.
Yep. That land eventually became the XIT Ranch, famous in its own right.
That's incredible. Trading land for a building.
Yeah.
Key moments in construction. Cornerstone laying.
March 2nd, 1885.
Yeah,
Texas Independence Day, which is a nice symbolic touch.
definitely.
And then the Goddess of Liberty statue, she went up on top of the dome in February 1888. The whole thing was dedicated a few months later, May 1888, with like a week of parties and stuff.
A whole week. They knew how to celebrate.
It seems like it. It was a huge deal.
Okay, so before we even go inside, the grounds are pretty significant too. 22 acres.
Yeah, and they're not just lawns. They're filled with history. Over 20 monuments and statues out there.
Like what kind of things?
Oh, all sorts. You've got the Alamo Heroes Monument, a Tishano Monument, one for African-American history.
Right.
Lots of veterans memorials, World War I, II, Korea, Vietnam. Peace officers, pioneer woman, Texas cowboy.
It's like an outdoor museum of Texas stories and figures.
It really is. Now, it's worth noting, as the guides point out, the collection includes some monuments to Confederate figures.
Right, and those are part of ongoing discussions these days.
They are. They're part of the historical collection on the grounds, reflecting, different periods of commemoration.
Okay, so let's head inside. Where do you usually start? South foyer.
Yep, that's the main entrance, and bam, you're met by these two huge marble figures.
Stephen F. Austin and Sam Houston by Elizabeth Ney, right? She was quite the character herself.
She was. And these statues are impressive. Austin's like 6'2". Houston is massive, 7'2", unveiled right there in 1903.
And replicas are in D.C. now.
Yeah, these were first. Then copies went to Statuary Hall. What's also cool is right under your feet, the floor.
The terrazzo floor, yeah, with the seals.
Exactly. Put in for the centennial in 1936. You've got the seals of the 6 nations that govern Texas, Spain, France, Mexico, the Republic, the Confederacy, and the U.S.
Wow.
Plus, seals for 12 battles fought on Texas soil. So you're literally walking over Texas history.
That's amazing. And the art on the walls there.
Big paintings. William Henry Huddle's Surrender of Santa Anna, his David Crockett. And there's also a display about 19th century African-American politicians from the Reconstruction era. Important history right there in the entrance.
Okay, moving deeper in, the Rotunda, that's the heart of the building, yeah.
Totally. It's this big open space, connects all the floors, goes way, way up.
And you look up, and there it is.
The Lone Star. 8 feet across, 218 feet above you. It's quite a sight.
And all around the different levels, portraits.
Mm-hmm. Portraits of the presidents of the Republic and all the governors of Texas. They even added a bust of Miriam Ma Ferguson, the first female governor.
Good. And that dome structure must have been quite an engineering feat back then.
Oh, absolutely. All that metalwork supporting it. And it has that cool acoustic thing, the whispering gallery effect.
Can you go up in the dome?
No, unfortunately. Not open for public tours up there, unlike some other capitals.
Gotcha. Okay, so from the Rotunda, you can get to the legislative chambers, second floor.
Right. West Wing is the House of Representatives. Big room. That's where all 150 members meet.
What's notable in there?
Well, history-wise, they have an actual flag artifact from the Battle of San Jacinto in 1836.
Whoa, an actual flag.
Yeah. Plus more big paintings, another Sam Houston portrait, and one called Settlement of Austin's Colony.
And across the way, East Wing.
That's the Senate chamber. Smaller, just 31 senators. Feels a bit more, I don't know, formal maybe.
What's inside the Senate chamber?
You can see the lieutenant governor's original desk and two really famous, huge paintings by Henry Arthur McArdle, Dawn of the Alamo and Battle of San Jacinto.
Ah, the McArdle paintings. Very dramatic.
Very. Important to remember, like the guides say, they're artistic takes, not exact photos, but powerful images.
And get this, legislators still use original desks from the 1880s.
Some of them, yeah. Isn't that wild? Connecting directly back to the building's origins.
That's incredible, and visitors can watch them work.
Yep, there are galleries above both chambers. If the legislature's in session, you can sit and observe.
Okay, before we move on to other rooms, just a quick heads up for everyone listening. If you're enjoying this deep dive into the Texas Capitol, definitely consider subscribing to Simon Talk on YouTube. We do explorations like this regularly.
Yeah, good point. So, beyond the current legislative spaces, the building also used to house the courts, right?
The highest courts, yeah. Where were they?
The original Supreme Court room is on the first floor, used from 1888 to 1959. Now, it's a meeting room, but it still has this amazing original walnut furniture.
And an inscription.
On the judge's bench, yeah,
Yeah.
in Latin. It translates to something like, just as to our fathers, may God be to us. Pretty profound.
Wow. And the other court?
Across the hall was the Court of Criminal Appeals, used from 1891 to 1959. Similar setup, but with oak furniture.
And wasn't there a story about a really unusual artifact, maybe in the library? Something belonging to Santa Anna.
Ah, yes. The legend is there's this desk-chair combo thing somewhere in the building, maybe the Legislative Reference Library, that supposedly belonged to General Santa Anna himself.
Used during his campaigns in Texas. That's kind of mind-blowing, if true.
It's one of those fantastic historical tidbits, right? Really captures the imagination.
Definitely. Okay, what other spots should people know about?
Well, the old treasurer's office on the first floor is interesting. It's basically the state bank. Now it's where you get information and tours start.
But the vaults are still there.
Oh, yeah. And they are serious. The main vault weighs 28 tons. Walls are 28 inches thick, built underground.
28 tons. Okay, that's secure.
No kidding. Also, on the first floor, there's a little agricultural museum, shows off Texas products, old tools, has the biggest original table from the Capitol collection.
And the governor has a public room.
The governor's public reception room, yeah. First floor, too. Formal space, antique furniture used for meetings, and it's open for the public to see.
What about the library we mentioned? Third floor.
Right, the Legislative Reference Library. It's a working library for legislators and staff, full of legal and historical documents, and maybe that Santa Anna chair.
Intriguing. And then there's the part you don't see from outside.
The Capitol extension, the underground part, built under the north lawn, finished in 1993.
Why did they build that? Just needed more space.
Exactly. The historic building was getting super crowded. The extension basically doubled the usable space without altering the look of the original building.
Smart. What's down there?
Lots of offices, committee hearing rooms, the gift shop, a grill for food. And they designed it cleverly with these big skylights so it gets natural light. Doesn't feel like a basement. There are also portrait busts of notable Texans down there.
It sounds like a really practical solution to preserve the old while adding the new.
It really was. It keeps the historic building functioning as this amazing monument while the day-to-day work can happen in the modern spaces below.
So if someone's listened to all of this and is thinking, I want to see this, How did they do it? Are tours easy to get?
Very easy. And free. They run guided tours pretty regularly, starting from that south foyer we mentioned. Takes about 30 to 45 minutes usually.
And they cover most of what we've talked about.
Yeah, the guides hit the main history, the architecture, key rooms like the chambers and rotunda. It's a great overview.
What if you want to explore on your own?
Also easy. You can grab a free self-guided tour brochure. They have them at the north entrance or the info desk in the old treasurer's office. Let you go at your own pace.
Is there an app or mobile tour?
There is, yeah. There's signage around the building with info on how to access a mobile tour on your phone. So, lots of options.
Sounds great. It really feels like a building that tells a story, or lots of stories.
Absolutely. History, government, art. It's all layered together there. A real symbol of Texas identity.
Yeah, you've got the past represented everywhere, but it's also where present-day laws are being made. That connection is very tangible.
It's where Texas history happened and where it's still happening, in a way. It makes it feel very real, doesn't it? Not just something in books, but something you can stand inside of. A story still unfolding.
It really does. A powerful experience. And hey, one last time, if you enjoyed this, please do subscribe to Simon Talk on YouTube. We'd love to have you join us for future deep dives.